Vadis chapter 41. Nito played and sang in honor of the Lady Cyprus, a hymn the verses and music of which were composed by himself. That day he was in voice and felt that his music really captivated those present. That feeling added such power to the sounds produced and roused his own soul so much that he seemed inspired. At last he grew pale from genuine emotion. It was surely the first time he had no desire to hear praises from others. He sat for a time with his hands on the cithara, and with bowed head, then rising suddenly, he said, I am tired and need air. Meanwhile, ye will tune the cithare. He covered his throat, then with a silk kerchief. He will go with me, said he, turning to Petronius and Vinicius, who were sitting in a corner of that hall. Give me thy arm, Vinicius, for strength fails me. Petronius will walk to me of music, will talk to me of music. They went out on the terrace, which was paved with alabaster and sprinkled with saffron. Here one can breathe more freely, said Nero. My soul is moved and sad, though I see that with that I have sung to thee on trial. Just now I may appear in public, and my triumph will be such that no Roman has ever achieved. Thou mayst appear here in Rome, in Achaia. I admire thee with my whole heart and mind, divinity, answered Petronius. I know thou art too slothful to force thyself to flattery, and thou art as sincere as Tullius Senecio, but thou hast more knowledge than he. Tell me, what is your judgment on music? When I listen to poetry, when I look at the quadriga directed by thee in the circus, when I look at the beautiful statue, temple, or picture, I feel that I comprehend perfectly what I see, that my enthusiasm takes in all that this can give. But when I listen to music, especially thy music, new delights and beauties open before me instant. I pursue them, I try to seize them, but before I can take them to myself, new and newer ones flow in, just like a waves of the sea which roll on from infinity. Hence I tell thee that music is like the sea. We stand on one shore and gaze at remoteness, but we cannot see the other shore. Ah, what deep knowledge thou hast, said Nero, and they walk on for a moment, a slight sound of the saffron leaves under their feet being heard. Thou hast expressed my ideas, said Nero at last, hence I say now, as ever, in all Rome thou art the only man able to understand me. Thus it is my judgment of music is the same as thine. When I play and sing, I see things which I did not know as existent in my dominions or in the world. I am Caesar, and the world is mine. I can do everything. But music opens new kingdoms to me, new mountains, new seas, new delights unknown before. Most frequently, I cannot name them or grasp them. I only feel them. I feel the goods, the gods. I see Olympus. Some kind of breeze from beyond the earth blows in on me. I behold, and in amidst certain immeasurable greatness, but calm and bright as sunshine. The whole sphere plays around me, and I declare to thee, here Nito's voice quivered with a genuine wonder, that I, Caesar and God, feel at such times as diminutive as dust. Wilt thou believe this? I will. Only great artists have power to feel small in the presence of art. This is a night of sincerity, hence I open myself to thee as to a friend. I will not say more. Those thou consider that I am blind or deprived of reason, those thou think that I am ignorant of this, that a people in Rome write insults on the walls against me, call me a matricide, a wife murderer, hold me a monster and a tyrant, because the Hellenes obtain a few sentences of death against my enemies. Yes, my dear, they hold me a monster, and I know it. They have talked cruelty on me to that degree that at times I put the question to myself, am I not cruel? But they do not understand this, that man's deeds may be cruel at times while he himself is not cruel. Ah, no one will believe, and perhaps even though my dear wilt not believe, that at moments when music caresses my soul I feel as kind as a child in the cradle. I swear to those stars which shine above us that I speak the pure truth to thee. People do not know how much goodness lies in this heart, and what treasures I see in it when music opens the door to them. Petronius, who had not the least doubt that Nito was speaking sincerely at that moment, and that music bring out various more noble inclinations of his soul, which were overwhelmed by mountains of egotism, profligacy, and crime, said, men shall know thee as nearly as I do. Rome has never been able to appreciate thee. Caesar leaned more heavily on Vinicius' arm, as if he were bending under the weight of injustice, and answered, Tigellinus has told me that in the Senate they whisper into one another's ears that Diodorus and Terminus play on the cithara better than I. They refuse me even that. But tell me, thou who art truthful always, do they play better or as well? By no means. Thy touch is finer and has greater power. In thee the artist is evident, in them the expert. The man who hears their music first understands better what thou art. If that be true, let them live. They will never imagine what a service thou hast rendered them in this moment. For that matter, if I had condemned those two, I should have had to take others in place of them. And people will say, besides, that out of love for music thou destroyedst music in thy dominions. Never kill art for art's sake, O divinity. How different thou art from Tigellinus, answered Nero. But seest thou, I am an artist in everything. I, since music opens for me spaces the existence of which I had not, divine regions which I do not possess, delight and happiness which I do not know. I cannot live in a common life. Music tells me that the uncommon exists, so I seek it with all the power of dominion which the gods have placed in my hands. At times it seems to me that to reach those Olympian worlds I must do something which no man has done here hitherto. I must surpass the stature of man in good or evil. I know that people declare me mad, but I am not mad. I am only seeking. And if I am going mad, it is out of disgust and impatience, and I cannot find. That I cannot find. I am seeking, those understand me, and therefore I wish to be greater than man, for only in that way I can be the greatest as an artist. Here he lowered his voice so that Vinicius could not hear him, and putting his mouth to the ear of Patronus, he whispered, Dost know that I condemned my mother and wife to death mainly because I wished to lay at the gate of an unknown world the greatest sacrifice that a man could put there? I thought that afterwards something will happen, that doors will be opened beyond which I could see something unknown. Let it be wonderful or awful, surpassing human conception, if only great and uncommon. But the sacrifice was not sufficient. To open the Empyrean doors, it is evident that something greater is needed, and let it be given, as the fates desire. What dost thou intend to do? Thou shalt see sooner than thou thinkest. Meanwhile, be assured that there are two needles, one such as people know, the other an artist, whom thou alone knowest, and if he slays as does death, or if his frenzy like Bacchus, it is only because the flatness and misery of common life stifle him, and I should like to destroy them, though I had to use fire or iron. Oh, how flat this world will be when I am gone from it. No man has suspected yet, not thou even, what an artist I am. But precisely because of this I suffer. I sincerely do I tell thee that the soul in me is as gloomy as those cypresses which stand dark there in front of us. It is grievous for a man to bear at once the weight of supreme power and the highest talents. I sympathize with thee, O Caesar, and with the earth and the sea, not counting Vinicius, who defies thee in his soul. He too has always been dear to me, said Caesar, though he serves Mars, not the Muses. He serves Aphrodite, first of all, answered Petronius, and suddenly he determined to settle the affair of his nephew at a blow, and at the same time eliminate every danger which might threaten him. He is in love, as was Troilus with Cressida. Permit him, Lord, to visit Rome, for he is dying on my hands. Those thou know that the Lycian hostage whom thou gavest him has been found, and Vinicius, when leaving for Antium, left her in care of a certain Linus. I did not mention this to thee, for thou wert composing thy hymn, and that was more important than all besides. Vinicius wanted her a mistress, but when she returned out to be a virtuous as Lucretia, he fell in love with her virtue, and now his desire is to marry her. She is a king's daughter, hence she will cause him no detriment, but he is a real soldier. He sighs and withers and groans, but he is waiting for the permission of his emperor. An emperor does not choose wives for his soldiers. What good is my permission to Vinicius? I have told thee, O Lord, that he defies thee, that he deifies thee. All the more may he be certain of permission, that is commonly maiden, but too narrow in the hips. The Augusta Poppaea has complained to me that she enchanted our child in the gardens of the Palatine. But I told Tigellinus that the gods are not subject to evil charms. Thou remembers, divinity, his confusion and thy exclamation, habet. I remember. Here he turned to Vinicius. Dost thou love her, as Petronius says? I love her, Lord, replied Vinicius. Then I command thee to set out for Rome tomorrow and marry her. Appear not again before my eyes without the marriage ring. Thanks to thee, Lord, for my heart and my soul. Oh, how pleasant it is to make people happy, said Nero. Will that I might do nothing else all my life. Grant us one favor more, O divinity, said Petronius. Declare thy will in this matter before Augusta. Vinicius will never venture to wed a woman displeasing to the Augusta. Thou wilt dissipate her prejudice, O Lord, with a word, but declaring that thou hast commanded this marriage. I am willing, said Caesar. I could refuse nothing to thee or Vinicius. He returned toward the villa, and they followed. Their hearts were filled with delight over the victory, and Vinicius had to use self-restraint to avoid throwing himself on the neck of Petronius, for it seemed now that all the dangers and obstacles were removed. In the antrium of the villa, young Nerva and Tullius Senecio were entertaining the Augusta with conversation. Terpnos and Diodorus were tuning cithare. Nero entered, sat in the armchair inlaid with a tortoise shell, whispered something in the ear of a Greek slave near his side, and waited. The page returned soon a gauntlet casket. Nero opened it and took a necklace of great opals. These are jewels worthy of this evening, said he. The light of Aurora is playing in them, answered Poppaea, convinced that the necklace was for her. Caesar, now raising, now lowering the rosy stone, said at last, Vinicius, thou wilt give from me this necklace to her whom I command thee to marry, the youthful daughter of the Lycian king. Poppaea's glance, filled with anger and sudden amazement, passed from Caesar to Vinicius. At last it rested on Petronius, but he, leaning carelessly over the arm of the chair, passed his hands along the back of the harp as if fixed its form firmly in his mind. Vinicius gave thanks for the gift, approached Petronius, and asked, How shall I thank thee for what thou hast done this day for me? Sacrifice a pair of swans to Euterpe, replied Petronius. Praise Caesar's songs and laugh at omens. Henceforth the roaring of the lions will not disturb thy sleep, I trust, nor that of thy Lygia, Lily. No, said Vinicius, no, I am perfectly at rest. May fortune favor thee, but be careful, for Caesar is taking his lute again. Hold thy breath, listen, and shed tears. In fact, Caesar had taken the lute and raised his eyes. In the whole conversation had stopped, and people were still as if petrified. Terminus and Diodorus, who had to accompany Caesar, were on the alert, looking now at each other and now at his lips, waiting for the first tones of the song. Just then, a movement of and noise began in the entrance, and after a moment, Caesar's freedman, Phaon, appeared from beyond the curtain. Close behind him was the consul Lecanius. Nero frowned. Pardon, divine emperor, said Phaon with panting voice. There is a conflagration in Rome. The greater part of the city is in flames. Que het. At this news all sprang from their seats. "Oh gods, I shall see a burning city!" A finish of the Troyades, and Nero sitting aside his lute. Then he turned to the consul. "If I go at once, shall I see the fire?" "Lord," answered Lecanius, "as pale as a wall. The whole city is one sea of flame. Smoke is suffocating the inhabitants. The people faint, or cast themselves into the fire from delirium. Rome is perishing, Lord." A moment of silence followed, which was broken by the cry of Vinicius, "Via misero mihi, me," and the young man, casting his toga aside, rushed forth in his tunic. Nero raised his hands and exclaimed, "Woe to thee, sacred city of Priam!"